Welcome to our podcast, where we will be discussing the future of the Hamilton Harbor through the implementation of compost toilets. We will discuss the key strategies in order to alleviate the pressure on Hamilton's wastewater treatment plant, ultimately reducing the environmental impact. This peaceful and scenic view is not in LA or Florida, but right here in Canada, in our very own Hamilton. Among Hamilton's most beautiful and to some surprising natural attractions include the Hamilton Harbor and the Randall Reef. Hamilton's West Harbor is a popular urban waterfront destination. Extending from downtown Hamilton, it is home to waterfront trails, cafes, and bike rentals. Hamiltonians are proud members of a community that includes attractions like Canada's docked HMCS's Haida, offering harbor tours aboard the Harbor Queen. Outdoor roller skating rinks and green spaces surrounded by trails offer the perfect waterside picnic spots at nearby Bayfront Park. The Hamilton Harbor, called the Makasa by the Iroquois-speaking First Nations, has been the core of Hamilton's industrial progress and an ecosystem service providing fisheries, jobs, and a recreational service. It is the end of a line of 4 sewage treatment plants, 3 by the City of Hamilton and 1 by the Regional Municipality of Halton. The economic focus on the harbor has shifted the focus away from the environment and its ecosystems. Consequently, the environmental impacts in the long run may leave an economic dent, and in a worst-case scenario may even cause irreversible changes. On an average day, the industrial plants release more than 400 million liters of treated sewage into the harbor. The City of Hamilton sends their wastewater to the Woodward Wastewater Plant. Primary treatment involves separating solid matter from liquid. Secondary treatment gets rid of dissolved matter, and tertiary involves a further chemical or physical process. A huge concern surrounding the harbor are the pollutants from sewage treatment plants like phosphorus and ammonia, which are potent plant nutrients that feed the growth of algae in the water. This uses up lots of oxygen, critical for fish and water quality. Untreated sewage adds to the burden carried by the harbor, and during heavy rains, untreated sewage is diverted into the harbor to avoid overloading the Woodward Avenue plant. So, our solution to combat the increasing pressure on the wastewater plant is the introduction of compost toilets in the housing areas.
Now, you may be wondering, how do compost toilets actually work? Let's find out together. Well, the main premise of composting toilets is that they separate liquid waste, urine, from typically solid waste, fecal matter. A standard compost toilet will have a handle on the side of it that the user pulls, opening a small door. The solid waste will go through this opening and enter into a compost bin below. You want to make sure to add some sort of carbon-rich compost material, such as peat moss or coconut fiber, to the compost bin. The reason a carbon-rich product is added is in order to ensure a bacteria-friendly balance of nitrogen and carbon within that local system. Additionally, there are 2 small holes at the front end of the toilet bowl where the urine is supposed to go, called the front urine collection unit. And as such, in this type of toilet, males are encouraged to go number 1, sitting down, such that the urine does not mix with the solid waste. Once you've gone number 2, you will turn a second handle 3 or 4 times in order to thoroughly mix the fecal matter with the pre-existing composting material. In terms of solid waste, it can be removed once every 2 to 4 weeks, while the front urine collecting unit would have to be emptied out roughly once a week. Once full, dumping the liquid waste is actually quite easy and simple. Unlatch the bowl, tilt it up, and then cap and remove the front urine container unit. Since this process relies on aerobic bacteria that require oxygen gas to function properly, you don't want to clean out the residuals with an overly harmful chemical treatment because you want the bacteria continuously working and ready for the next batch of fecal matter. A few cool tidbits about composting toilets is that key components such as the handle and other internal parts are made out of stainless steel, which does not erode or rust. Additionally, these toilets use very little water and very little electricity, as low as 2 amps per day.
So are there countries in the world that have adopted the use of compost toilets? Well, yes. Compost toilets have actually been successfully implemented in many countries around the world. Finland and Germany are just 2 examples.
Now, how affordable is this technology in reality? Let's take a closer look at the numbers. While the upfront cost of a compost toilet may seem on the pricier side, the cost of maintaining a septic system over a span of roughly 5 years can cost the person as much as $10,000. Now, to minimize the cost of the people of the watershed, companies from within Hamilton can be hired to make various components of the toilet, which would promote and enhance local economic activity, as well as increase the affordability of the product for people.
In order to reduce the impact of Hamilton's wastewater treatment plant on Hamilton Harbor, it is essential that Hamiltonians install a compost toilet within their homes. The 3 levels of the ladder we will include to encourage this positive change will be through education, incentivization, and citizen action. The education programs will be tailored to fit the needs of our target audience, who are the homeowners in and around the Hamilton Harbor area. Under the education curriculum, we will educate the general public on a variety of topics ranging from the zero impact compost toilets have on the environment to the monetary incentives in the form of tax exemptions and hydro bills. We will be targeting the public through an assortment of social media campaigns through platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. We will use these platforms to host public engagement sessions on the benefits of using a compost toilet. Furthermore, the City of Hamilton can host town hall meetings in order to discuss in detail the benefits of installing a compost toilet, while also allowing the public to address any questions or concerns they might have.
In terms of an approach with respect to incentivization, in any case like this, it can be broken down into two arguments, rational and emotional. With respect to the former argument, we feel it is important for Hamiltonians to appreciate the environmental benefits of this technology. A cleaner environment, particularly lake, benefits all members of the community regardless of their age or social status. This brings us to the latter of the two arguments, the emotional argument. A cleaner lake means a safer lake for young families and older families alike to enjoy a variety of activities, including swimming, boating, and recreational fishing. Fewer toxins in the lake means a lower risk of infection and illness for every member of the community, particularly those who are most vulnerable, young kids and seniors. Additionally, tax exemptions can be awarded to those who implement these toilets in their homes. The Hamilton City Council can come to a deal with the compost toilet manufacturer, granting contracts that would allow people to pay the cost of a compost toilet in small installments over a 24-month or 36-month period.
Citizen action is important in the successful transition towards a greener future and involves numerous behavioral changes. We are all aware of Greta Thunberg. She's not a scientist, a microbiologist, or an earth scientist. This supergirl is in fact an ordinary citizen like you and I. However, unlike most of us, she's shown willingness to do what most of us refuse to do out of fear of leaving our comfort zones. A little effort goes a long way. If we assume that households were to embrace compost toilets, then roughly 1.2 million gallons of water per year could be saved. Like Greta, we must encourage people to start adopting greener measures from within their homes, and this can start with the implementation of a compost toilet. In conclusion, Canadians use around 120 liters of water per person per year, of which 30% is flushed. If we make the switch to compost toilets, we can save up to 25,000 liters of water per person per year. Compost toilets are not just user-friendly, but also cost-effective. In order to enact change in the city, we must encourage a behavioral change in the city's population. We hope you enjoyed our suggestion to reduce the pressure on Hamilton's wastewater treatment plan, and thank you for listening to our podcast.